I'm gonna snort into this video. Good morning, everyone. Here, check this out. Lip gloss.
We have been struggling since day one.
Oh, okay.
No, the gym or our marriage? Which one are we talking
Both. And we're watching all the flash flood warnings and everything else. I mean, I'm talking within minutes. I saw the river break, came in, got them in the car, walked back, got the dogs, threw them in the car.
So we're pulling out and the water's going up past the tires.
I just remember when that happened, how crazy it was that, you just had this little baby.
People are like, man, who did you piss off in another life?
We're not shutting down, just so you know. And if we are, we'll let you know, but we're not. What do you do when shit hits the fan? The whole world's going to hell in a handbasket.
The faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. And I was joking, I was like, I have a mountain to move. And when my pastor showed up.
When you really want something badly, you will be tested.
It's like, I don't know, I guess our life is chaos, but there's always so much good that comes out of it. It's just, that chemo sucks, you hear that it sucks.
Yeah.
And then you do it and you're like, God, this really, really sucks.
Life may not be perfect, and it could always be worse. For whatever reason, some people have more twists of fate than others. It's hell or high water, y'all. Welcome to COSMRadio, citizens of San Marcos, locals and legends to bring you a little closer home. I'm your host, Lauren Hoffman, and for this episode, we get up close and personal with San Marcos citizens Daniel and Michelle Hagerty, owners of the Metroflex Gym. Michelle's Facebook videos are the reason I know how crazy their lives are, so I decided to meet with them in person and get the full story. They'll tell you about the craziness of their lives, their drives, their support, and how to have a sense of humor while juggling the bowling balls of life. So, here are the Hagertys.
I hit something, man. I break things. The gym still works, so because weights aren't electronic.
I guess my life got interesting, air quotes, when I was going to go to college. I was 18 years old. I was enrolled at University of North Texas. I had aspirations to be an actress. And I'd always been studying art since as long as I can remember. But I was enrolled at University of North Texas, and I was dating my junior high sweetheart. So he was my boyfriend in junior high, and then we broke up, and then he became my high school sweetheart. And he was in the military. He went into the military after I told him not to, and I said, if you go in the military, I'm not going to marry your ass. And he did anyway. And then he came home for block leave on my, right after I graduated, and we were just kind of sitting there, and we're like, so Thursday? And we just got married on a Thursday. That's all I really remember, and so that's kind of how it started. There was just no thought. I just didn't go to college. I just left. Parents were not happy. But so then we got married, moved to Georgia, and had a baby right away. So I think we got married in June, and I had a baby in the next July. Right after Elijah was born, he decided, he was not a Christian like we are, and I am now, but I wasn't really. And he definitely wasn't, aspiring atheist, I guess. But after Elijah was born, he decided, I guess he started feeling inklings of God, and decided, I'm going to rethink this, and decided to get out of the Army Rangers and wanted to go back he just wanted to go into regular infantry, and being a Ranger, you can kind of choose where he wanted to go. So he asked to be stationed in Fort Hood so he can be back close to our family in Belton. And so we put in papers for that. And then ironically, 9/11 happened a week or two later. he couldn't, the Rangers were deployed like immediately and he was not, and he stayed behind, and then papers went through and eventually he, we came back to Fort Hood, and then the war was officially like declared, and he was one of the first guys shipped out and also one of the first guys killed. So it was like number 56 or something like that. I just remember it was in July. Elijah was he had just turned 2. I was living with his parents at the time to save money, and we didn't have a house yet. I was going to go to nursing school by that point. I was like, well, let's go to nursing school, make some money, and that's when, he went off to war or whatever. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. I wasn't planning on doing anything. And it was really another like ironic thing was that I'd gone to orientation for nursing school and I'd got accepted, and but they had no information of mine. They didn't have, everybody had new scrubs and stethoscopes and getting ready for clinicals type stuff, and they didn't even have my name on a list. And a friend looked at me and she's like, don't worry, they'll find everything, and another friend goes, hey, maybe it's a sign that you just don't need to do this. So I took it as a sign, and then I went back to art, and my friend grabbed me by the hand and like almost literally grabbed me by the hand and said, you're just going to go with me. You're going with me to Texas State, and you're going to go, and I'm going to enroll you. And I enrolled in Texas State, and she filled out all my paperwork, did classes, and then I was here. And all of this happened so fast. It was probably within a year. That's how I got to San Marcos.
Hey Rob, you know what? I was thinking about you, and that's why I decided to post. I actually was having a great morning and praising God and thinking there's so many great, awesome things that are happening here at Metroflex. Our house is still freaking cold because the heater is still not working properly. There's just crap going on, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, it's all right.
Yeah, quick question. Daniel, what were you doing during this time?
But no, about that time frame, I graduated high school, top of my class, and then didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to college, but I knew I was supposed to, so I tried, and just kind of woke up one day and I was looking around at my so-called roommates, and they're all passed out, hungover. One guy's actually digging in the carpet looking for rocks of coke or meth, and I just kind of just looked down. I was like, I don't want to turn out like this. So I called my mom. I was like, hey, can I move back home? She's like, yeah. So I moved back home. I sobered up, worked for a little bit, and then enlisted in the Navy. Got married before I actually went in. Ended up getting out early. Wasn't a good marriage. Fought a lot and argued. We were young and stupid. Probably should never gotten married, but just remember I came home from work one day and she's watching the Oprah special where it was about the lady like drowned her kids. My wife at the time started crying and she looked at me. She's like, I'm hearing voices telling me to hurt the kids. I'm like, let's get in the car. We're gonna go to the doctor. So took her in and found out a lot of it was postpartum, and they diagnosed her everything under the sun, and she was had to have her admitted. And I just remember that's just kind of the beginning of my downward spiral as an adult, I guess. Anyway, long story short, it didn't work out. We ended up divorcing. Mm-hmm. And then finally started pulling my head out of my butt, and I started going back to church a little bit, and that's when I got offered a job here in San Marcos to the World Gym. So I started working there, and that's when one day she walked in the doors.
Okay.
And
I was just about to ask.
I first met her and her best friend, and honestly, my first opinion of her is she's a lesbian. I mean, she's just what she was wearing and everything. It just, and I don't know.
I was wearing art school.
She was wearing a very tight hoodie, black hoodie
clothing.
with a zipped hoodie. And she had a bandana on and her little grandma-looking glasses. Yeah, it was a black hoodie. It was a blackish hoodie.
No.
Well, anyway. And she's wearing her grandma glasses. And she did not like my humor at all. I could tell I wasn't. There was
Were
just
you
nothing
getting
there.
on her nerves?
Yeah.
Probably. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was being stupid, but and then
I was wearing cargos and docks, all right?
it took half my staff and some mutual friends to finally set us up.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few times they're trying to invite me to barbecues and parties. I knew what they were doing, so I kept declining because shit.
Did you know it was Michelle though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because it was in one day I had 2 or 3 people come to me and be like, Daniel, I know exactly who you need to go out with. Her name's Michelle. She's a single mom, so she's you have a lot in common there.
Hey guys! Okay, so here's what I was saying. What do you do when hits the fan? The whole world's going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, my baby's crying.
Now, from here, so you had Elijah, right? And then you had...
Caitlin, Noah.
Okay, and so when did the next baby come along, and which one is it? Is it Lincoln?
It's Lincoln.
Is it Lincoln? Okay.
Okay, so we got married in 2011. Okay, so we had Lincoln in 2013.
Y'all have a lot to get
There's so much stuff. So, but anyway, so I guess everything timeline wise, like 2008, graduated, moved here. We dated for a little bit, we were engaged, broke up, got back together.
Pretty typical.
Engaged again, yeah, kind of that whole thing. And then when we got married, we opened the gym like almost exactly a year after.
Okay.
It just fit. I mean, like the cards just played out, So we opened the gym.
So were you kind of? You also got into training, and you were in competitions.
Oh yeah. Well, at that time we were not. I mean, this was before the gym opened.
Okay.
And he was working. This was right after the breakup. I guess to say it so during the breakup he actually tried to kill himself, which is probably one of the reasons I broke up with him, because I'm not playing with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And it was. I don't mean to say that so nonchalantly, but I mean it's part of it. It is what it is, and that was he suffers from bipolar issues, and
I'm open about.
he's very open, and that's kind of like our life. It's just up and down all the time. But that's what we were struggling with, and then that's when the breakup happened. But
Well, when it comes to bipolar, what sucks is there's no middle ground. I'm either up or I'm down. I'm more severe. I'm the manic.
More manic
and
than you are
I'm a rapid
depressed.
cycler.
Okay.
I have no middle ground. I'm either really good, really excited,
But you're
let's
saying
conquer
you're
the
more
world.
manic, and I'm like,
the world sucks.
well, I guess maybe you are. No, I guess you are.
And
I guess doctors could be right.
I'm just roller coaster up and down.
Yeah. Do you try to be aware of the feeling?
I've
and the
actually,
changes?
I there's a lot of times I can catch it when it's coming on, and I try to stop it, or at least I'm aware of it, and I can kind of manage.
He's a lot better. I mean, we haven't. He's a lot better, but I'm also a lot better at not poking the bear.
Well, the problem with her is she's a fixer. And you can't fix bipolar. I mean, she can do everything and try to make my day good, but you can't fix me.
Yeah.
And I think
it's been a
some of the
long
pressure
too.
kind of came off her when she realized that, and she doesn't.
That there's no helping you?
Yeah, she no longer tries to fix me.
When was that day? When did you wake up? Michelle was like,
I just woke up, you know what? Screw it!
Yeah.
And he's like, exactly. I'm like, oh, okay.
There's crumbs on my phone. All right, don't judge. Okay. Anyway, what do? You know what I'm doing today? I'm praising God. I'm praising God that I have a heater in my car and food in my kids' bellies because we save it in the cup holders.
So would you say that this is when this is when just the ball of chaos, so to speak, starts spinning a little quicker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But things got a lot harder because right before I got pregnant with Lincoln, things were finally settling, So it's almost like, it's not like the ball just kept getting, spinning and getting bigger and bigger downhill. It's just that life just kept pulling us along, and then we're like, oh, it's slowing down. Wait, oh shit, no, it's not, and it just kept going. Yeah, bleep that one out. But when we got pregnant with Lincoln, but we're like, oh, this is great, what a blessing, blah, blah, blah. It's cute. You know, so it wasn't expected. It wasn't planned, but it was sweet.
And y'all were doing good.
Yeah, and the kids were like all in junior high, and then so we had Lincoln, but I think that's when things started getting really hard. You know, owning a business. I mean, we owned a business. We had 3 kids, but it was doable. You know, we had a routine. The kids would do homework there at the gym. We lived there. I opened there in the morning. He closed at night. The kids had dinner there half the time, and then we had Lincoln. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And then I have to bring him with me to work and everything. I mean, I tried to have him at home, and then there was, you know, emergency, and we had to go to the hospital. He just was stubborn and wouldn't come out. But then I ended up at the hospital, and I had him fine, all natural still. But I didn't get that midwife thing that I wanted to do.
If you're a fan of farmers markets, come check out our KZSM booth on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in San Marcos, Texas. Stop and make a donation and check out our merchandise. This is a great opportunity to talk to our station members, look at our schedule, and if there's room on the board, consider hosting your own radio show. If you can't make Saturdays, you can still help support the station by visiting kzsm.org/donate to help.
How soon after Lincoln did you get pregnant with Quinn?
2 years?
No. That's no. He was
about a year.
about a year.
Because I remember you were kind of quiet about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, you know, like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant, yay! And this time we're like,
Well, because it's, I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, the business was struggling. Our marriage was struggling. I mean, we were just at each other's throats.
yeah,
and
we were struggling bad.
and
that's why it was a big
just-
surprise. So we were struggling. We got pregnant with Quinn, and then I was pretty quiet about that. But then, I mean, it's a baby. You know, it's like, hey, we can do this, but I'm not having another one. Like
After this.
this is 5.
So it wasn't clearly stated during the interview, but in 2015, San Marcos flooded 2 times, once in May and once in October. Both floods were devastating to Central Texas and were of epic proportions. I've never seen anything like either flood in my years living here. The rivers and creeks in this area of Texas often merge with one another, and due to which river floods more depends on who gets flooded out or who has to evacuate. At this time, Michelle was pregnant with Quinn, and Lincoln was barely a toddler. When the first flood washed through our city, many were first in line to help. Metroflex was one of the first places to get word out that they had opened their gym to accept donations, and the response was overwhelming.
So the first flood happened, everybody's cleaning, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't help because I was pregnant. People were like, you're not allowed over there. You're gonna get sick and you're pregnant. So then the gym became that flood donation site. And so we did that, you know, we did the flood donation thing.
I mean,
and
how many donations do y'all think y'all got? About how much?
we filled so the room it's 2,000 square feet. It was about 2,000 square feet, and we had a little side room that was next to it that was full of furniture. And that 2,000 square feet was full of clothing, shoes, baby items, and food and cleaning supplies. So
That day we were early that morning we were evacuated out because they evacuated the whole street here. Ironically, of course, the time we flooded.
no, I don't know if they evacuated. I think we just left.
No, they evacuated. They came because that was when you were in the muscle suit and they knocked on the door and told us to get out. So we went to the gym, and that's when we started calling our staff.
No, that was the year before. We've been evacuated before,
But-
and this time we tried.
Yeah.
We evacuated ourselves and took the dogs.
We went to the
It was a
gym and we
false
called all of our employees. We're like, hey, anybody that needs a place to go, come to the gym.
I started, I played telephone, and I was like, hey, tell people to bring stuff here. I'm part of that business networking group at BNI, And so I just sent a message out to a couple people. I was like, hey, we're going to open up a flood donation site here in San Marcos. And we have a friend, my doula, she was helping with one in Wimberley. And this is on the day of the flood. And we were already there at the gym and we hadn't been home. And we're like, well, let's just start collecting stuff because people are going to need it, because we knew the woods. We knew places that already started flooding. One of our employees was flooded. So we had our employees spending the night at our house that night, you know. But things started coming in, and we just left like tubs on the front porch of the gym so that people can leave things if they wanted to. But by the next day, the whole place just started filling up.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, we were getting phone calls from out of state with people like, hey, I've got an 18-wheeler full of matches. I got an 18-wheeler full of this. We're coming your way. I'm like, no.
So y'all were like
we
the
said
main people they were calling. Huh?
Not the main. I mean, eventually, eventually the city started having a donation site, you know.
So Metroflex was like the donation box for the first flood of 2000.
Well, for the very beginning, but there was a lot of other ones that popped up. There, you know, I mean, I just remember being the first one to do it because it was the day of, and people just, you know, everybody in our networking group wanted to do something. Yeah, and so people were bringing us gift cards. So with all the donations and everything that we've gotten from everybody throughout the entire thing, start to finish, we raised over $7,000 in cash and gift cards, and gave those out we gave it to the counselors at the school. To give to the families they knew specifically that needed it, like the kids that came to school with no shoes because they were flooded out. So like they gave them to those families. So that way I knew that they went to somebody. And then also I knew some people on the streets, like on the actual streets that were flooded. I handed them food gift cards and things so that they could have Pizza Hut that night. We closed that up, donated everything to Southside Community Center. And then a week later we moved the gym. I mean, it was like a week or two later, we moved the gym over to this location over here.
It was just a better option.
Our lease was coming up, getting close to being up, but they were trying to increase our rent, and we couldn't afford it. And they were trying to say that they had tenants ready to move in, and so they gave us just right around 10 days to vacate the property.
Yeah, they really gave us a little heads up before then. Yeah. We were kind of hoping that they would that their plan, like whoever it was that was going to come in, was just going to. And
so we scrounged looking for locations and couldn't find anything that would work or that was available or anything like that. And then last minute, down to the wire, a friend of ours actually found the space we're at now.
Well, one of our trainers had mentioned it, and I was like, no. Yeah. And then later on, we're like, yes.
Yeah. And so within one weekend, a lot of our members just showed up with trailers, helped us load everything up and move.
We moved it in a weekend. I mean, it was crazy. And then 3 months later, I had the baby.
Okay, so okay, so go into what happened with that.
So we just moved to the new location at the gym, and I knew I was gonna go on maternity leave because I didn't want to bring two babies into the gym with me to work. And so I went into labor. I'm sure I was working that day. Both babies, when I was in labor, I was still working. I think there was like events going on both of those days.
I remember when we had our art day together, you were mentioning that you kind of just had an inkling that you didn't know if you were going to do a home birth or not or something.
Yeah, okay. So I think that I was just so hell-bent on having a home birth that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And, you know, I had my midwife and my doula. I'm like, I'm going to do it this time. And, something inside of me, and also inside and externally, I had my mother and my sister in each ear going, just don't do it. Don't do it. It's unsafe. You couldn't do it with Lincoln. You don't need to do it now. It's unsafe. It's insane. You know, all of the things that people fear about home births that aren't educated in it and don't know how safe it is. But there was some of that, but really it's not that I had a bad feeling. I just didn't want to. Yeah. I was tired. I'm tired. I want a nap. And if I'm at the hospital, I can get one. I want to have my baby, and then if I just am too tired to hold him, somebody else will, and there's not going to be someone, can I get a snack? There's not going to be that crap, or there's not going to be someone asking for something, and I don't have to take anybody to school. And one of my fears was like having the baby here and in our little baby pool thing or whatever. And then, the next morning, everybody needs breakfast, and Daniel's too tired to do it. I was like, fine, I'll do it. Like that's what I didn't want to happen. And so I was like, I told Erica, I told my midwife, and I was like, can I just not do it at home? She's like, yeah, you do whatever you want.
She had you here to almost the last minute.
That was the doula. Our doula, Jenny. I think she was trying to not trick me into staying, but I labored here the whole time. Yeah. I mean, I walked into the hospital at 9 centimeters. Yeah, I didn't know that. I just know that I was really pissed and at my pain, and I was like, give me the drugs. I was like, I just want to have drugs. I had Lincoln Natural. Let's have drugs. Not like let's have drugs, but I'm like, I want an epidural.
Let's have a nap.
Yeah, I was like, I want a nap.
Literally, once she got to the hospital, anybody walked through that door. Is that my epidural? Is that my epidural? Is that my epidural?
And so, but anyway, so we're in there, and it was a fun labor just because everything in my life is comical. CTMC, I think is really great. They were great. They let my doula and my midwife stay in there. Dana was there with me, of course. And I labored as much as I could. I did get my epidural, yay! But I just couldn't. The baby wasn't wanting to come out, and he was going to be in distress.
Even though you were 9 centimeters, baby.
Yeah, yeah. My doctor, she wasn't we need to have a C-section. She let me labor, she let me try. Like most moms want to, and I wanted to. I didn't want to get cut open, especially after laboring at home, And when she just told me that we had to go in for a C-section, I was like, all right, okay. And then she walked away.
Was his heart rate dropping or something?
Yeah, in my heart rate.
She came in and she said, it's been long enough. You've been fully dilated since you got here. And
my blood pressure was dropping pretty low. And the baby has shown
no signs of progression. She goes, it's time.
Yeah. And so I started crying. I got scared. I felt like I did something wrong and I made a bad decision. And, but it turns out it was good that it happened that way, because whenever I was on the table, out comes Quinn, here comes the baby. And, I think, he cries or whatever, and Daddy gets to see him, and they take him over me to get a kiss, and, and then they wheel the baby out and Daddy follows. And I'm laying there and I'm freezing. I remember I was freezing. Yeah, it's shaking. So cold. Yeah. And I'm like, and I kept asking, so they actually gave me anti-anxiety medicine because I think I was nervous, I guess. And then, so I guess they're going to start sewing me up. And I remember it taking forever. And I'm laying there.
Longer than it should have.
Yeah. Not like I really know, but I said, are y'all done yet? And they're like, Michelle, no, we're just a second. We're almost finished. It's just, we were closing her up, and we see that you have a cyst on your ovary, and we're just looking at ways that we want to kind of take that out. I'm like, okay. So then they said it was the size of a baseball or something.
That's crazy, and not even know that it's in there.
We had no idea.
Jeez.
And if I hadn't had a C-section, would never have known. And they said that and I overheard them talking about ways of taking it out and trying to save the ovary and things like that. And I'm like, are y'all done now? And it was just did it take forever? I think it did. I think people were pretty worried. And then they're like, well, it's pretty big, and we were just thinking that we might need to take your ovary, and if we do, and I'm like, oh, you just take it, just go ahead and take it, sew me up. I'm like, well, but you'll still be fertile. If we take your ovary, you'll be okay. You can have more kids. Yeah. I said, okay, and take the other one too. But they didn't. So they took it out, and they just thought it was a cyst, and So then took it out, sewed me up, went out there, finally got to see the family and baby nursed. Everything was great. I mean, perfect baby with maybe a little cone head like the other ones. But so there was that, and then stayed in the hospital. I mean, a C-section, but I was only there for like 3 days.
People are super busy these days, so it's practical to be entertained while you're on the go. Listen to KZSM.org's live streaming while you're commuting or while you take care of laundry or that old car in your garage. We bring you illustrated stories about our city, our citizens, our legends, and mysteries. If you like our stories and are all about preserving the history of our wonderful community, go to kzsm.org/donate to help keep community radio alive. We can't do it without you. Thanks for tuning in. So now it's October. Michelle and Daniel Hagerty just got home from the hospital with their little newborn baby, Quinn. There really wasn't any time for Michelle to relax and heal from her C-section when the rains from the second 2015 flood started to come down.
So there was that, and then stayed in the hospital. I mean, a C-section, but I was only there for like 3 days. Came home. It started raining, and then it kind of, I think the baby were home a day and a half. It was it was raining, but then that alert went off for the tornado first thing in the morning, and Dana was taking the kids to school, and I told him, I was like, can you just take Lincoln with you? I just want to rest with the baby.
Was this the day before? Because I remember...
This is the day of the flood.
Okay.
This is the day of the flood.
Okay,
so it's like
during the day, because I remember when the tornado alarm went off, that was like, you never hear that here.
The siren, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like 7 something in the morning because he was taking Elijah. He always goes to band first thing in the morning. And so Dana was going to take Lincoln so I could rest, and he had all my babies in the car except for the new one. And then the alarm went off. I freaked out, and I got some anxiety, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel. And he's like, I'll figure it out. I'll just take him or I'll figure it out. And next thing you know, all of them walked in the door. So he kept all of them. Yeah, and I was so happy.
Because we got down the road, and I was halfway to the school, and it just kept coming down harder and harder where I could barely see in front of me. And then I was hearing the alerts on the radio. And finally I just said, I was like, screw this crap. Y'all just staying home. Let's go. I go, if it clears up, I'll take you later. Because like she was blowing up the phone, like worried and panicking. I'm like,
doing the Michelle thing.
I was like, and like I'll drive in bad weather. I don't freak out that easy. It doesn't bother me. But it was just to the point where like I can't really see, and like no, I don't care. So I brought him home, and we got here to the house, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And we're watching all the flash flood warnings and everything else. And
the water in the backyard was like 2 to 3 feet high
before the river even broke.
Yeah, before the river.
Remind me again. Everyone was here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we had everybody at home, and I was texting my friend that works at the embassy. And I'm like, hey, do you guys have any rooms? And they're running a $99 flood rate, and so I was like, okay, go ahead and reserve this room just in case. And I remember texting her, throughout the day, and we're like, oh, we'll be okay. But we were packing anyway, nice and slow, just kind of chilling out. I was like, we evacuate and nothing happened. Like, we evacuated twice and nothing has happened before. I was like, I'm not leaving right now.
Weather calls wolf.
Yeah, I was like, I am not leaving with this baby right now, and I remember just...
You're still recovering. I mean, that's...
Yeah, he was 5 days old.
The baby's born on the 25th. We're home on the 27th. Flooded out of the house on the 30th. That's the timeline.
No, we were home on
No. He was born on the 25th.
I only spent 2 nights here. Anyway, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so either way, it started flooding, and by the time we actually were like, okay, we need to go. I mean, my friend texted, she's like, aren't you coming? I was like, no, I think we're fine. We still have electricity. We're good. And then 5 seconds later, the electricity went. I was like, oh, let's go. We're packing. And so we started loading up the car and loading up the kids and the dogs in one vehicle, the kids in the other, and the water went from like maybe 5 inches to 2 feet in a matter of minutes.
Because this is all going on. I kept watching the river, and I walked out, and there's a neighbor. There's a neighbor down the street. He's lived on this street forever. Like he's been through numerous floods on this road, on this area, And I was talking to him, and he's like, and he saw us kind of like packing up a little bit. He's like, I ain't leaving, I ain't going nowhere. Because the last time he left, he came back to people going through his house. So he's like, no, I'm not going to deal with looters. Anyway, he's like, I was like, so what do I watch for? And he's like, okay. So he showed me a point on the neighbor's yard across the street. He goes, when the water gets past that point, get out. I was like, okay. So I'm watching the river, and all of a sudden, literally, I saw it break the crest and start coming. So I walked in the house. I told her, I was like, let's go. And she was feeding Quinn. And I was like, because she's like, well, I'm nursing her. So I was like, no, let's go. And so we'd already had the bags packed. So we got the kids in the car. I came back, grabbed the dogs. I mean, I'm talking within minutes. I saw the river break, came in, got them in the car, walked back, got the dogs, threw them in the car. I don't know why. I walked back to lock the door, and I locked the door, and as I turned around to walk back to the truck, the water was already up to past my knees.
It was so fast. I couldn't believe it. And so I drove out. I had all the kids, fresh stitches, thinking if this nasty water gets in me, I'm going to get sick and die. You know, like I just know, you know. So we're pulling out and the water's going up past the tires, and Caitlin's like, you need to go that way, and because everybody that's going that way keeps turning around. So we turn around and I was try to go down Riverside, and you see, I mean, like I don't know how many times I had to reverse it and just try to find a way out. And I remember freaking out because the water's getting higher. Daniel's in front of me and he's going towards Hopkins, and there's a lady on her porch just screaming at him, telling him to stop and reverse, and he's not paying attention, of course. You know, and,
I saw her, but I was still thinking I could make it.
Well, but yeah, well, nobody made it. So, I mean, and so I remember like honking, like trying to call him, and of course his phone was dead. And of course he did not gas up the car, so my gas light was on, and I was like, oh, we're gonna die, you know, and I just remember praying. I'm like, I need an out. We need to get out of here. And I'm like telling the kids of evacuation routes because the water's coming up the doors. And I'm like, okay, if something happens, you get Quinn, you get Lincoln. I can't carry it because I'm not allowed to carry anything over 10 pounds. And, you know, I'm like, oh my God, my kids are going to float away. And I just remember like the sun, like the clouds parting and the sun shining down on that, you know, that area over there where the Catholic church is, and that not pasture, but that huge lot just drove right through the grass and made it out. And then so did some of our neighbors were following us at that point. And it was just like, all of this happened in like 2 minutes, but it feels like an eternity in my mind. You know, the roads were packed. It took hours. It took hours to get to the embassy. And I was lucky we even made it to a gas station. It was just nuts. And we got to the embassy. We lived there for a couple days. Somebody called us and said, don't you guys worry, I already paid for your night. So, I mean, someone we barely know paid for us. And our BNI group, they came together. It's like, I don't know, I guess our life is chaos, but there's always so much good that comes out of it. It's just that part where like, I know it's going to be okay, but I'm really waiting for that okay part now, God. And I just
know what you do to me.
yeah. And I couldn't believe it, you know. I mean, all the adrenaline's rushing by that point, and we're just, you know, I saw friends at the embassy that were flooded, that they couldn't get back to their homes. It was weird. It was just like this big, giant San Marcos slumber party at the embassy suites. You know, the baby was brand new, and I was, thank God that I was breastfeeding, because we had no formula. We didn't have anything. And
was there anything that you forgot that you were like, darn, I left my toothbrush?
you know, I have one thing that I'm like, in case of a flood, I will have this. And it's an envelope that says everything to prove we ever existed. And it has everything in it. Ironically, I actually left it at one of the flood relief sites in Kyle, and I lost it. And they opened it up, and I left my whole bag and everything, and they called me and drove from Kyle and brought it all the way to us. This was maybe a couple, like 2 weeks later, when we were finally at a rent house.
And how long did y'all stay there for?
We stayed a week.
Okay. And then
they honored our $99 flood rate. Okay. Even we were like the last flood victims to leave, I'm sure, because we had no place to go.
Right.
Because there's no rental property in San Marcos.
There were barely any rental properties, and where are you going to house a family of 7?
Yeah,
you know. And It was Elijah's, one of his friends from band. His aunt owns rental properties, and they cut us an amazing deal and had a house ready for us within a week. And I mean, that was just a godsend. I mean,
Wow.
so much. So, I mean, everything like God was working, because like when we were at the embassy and I think church was coming up, you know.
Y'all had a lot of support. I remember.
Well, church came to the embassy.
Yeah, and like the flood,
We
and
were there.
the flood was that it was a Friday, wasn't it?
I guess.
It was on a Friday, and Robin, our pastor, called, and we were talking to him, and he asked how we were. I was like, the house is flooded, and he's like, okay. He's like, we're getting a group together. We'll be there Saturday morning. Unlocked the door, and they got in here. They just started pulling stuff out.
Oh, and they knew what they were doing.
And
because they helped out in the last one.
Yeah, the previous flood, they were taught what to do. So they got in here, pulled everything out, started ripping out sheetrock, the flooring, everything. And all we could do is stand there and be like, okay, keeping that. Okay, throw that away. We need to keep that. Throw that away. And like trying to take pictures of stuff for insurance. And it was.
I could barely walk. Like, I wasn't really allowed to walk, and I couldn't hold anything more than the baby. I mean, you know.
And it was like they were here that day, and then like the following few days, a few stragglers would show up. But it was like I would make a Facebook post like,
members.
Hey, I'll be at the house this time. Anybody come, show up. And like, I mean, people were coming on by, bringing me food, bringing water, showing up to help. You know, and I remember one of the last few days, they were picking up the trash. Finally, had a big pile out here, and I'm like, how am I going to move that? Because I had to get it closer to the street. I didn't know what to do, and my pastor showed up. And he's like, let's get to it. And we just dug
Was it just you and Robin?
Yeah, and so we moved it, you know, because I made a joke about, you know, with the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. And I was joking. I was like, I have a mountain to move. And well, my pastor showed up and we moved it.
I went for my follow-up, and to ask about like, what's this cyst or whatever. But I was nursing the baby, and we're just talking, and I mean, I want to talk to her, and she's like, well, I'll wait till you finish. I'll come back when you're done and we'll talk. I was like, you can talk to her. She's like, no, I'll wait. And she like walked out, you know, and now I understand why, you know, and then I had the baby, and she came in, and then she had this paper, and she's like, I just want to let you know that, you know, we had your cyst biopsied, and it turns out that it is cancer. And like at that moment I was just like, there's no freaking way. Like everything. I was like, are you serious? You know, I'm like, there's just no way. And I'm pretty sure I cried a little bit. And I'm like, all right, we'll be good. Remember I told you that if I got married, I lost my insurance? So I just remember ever since then, when we got married, I'm like, well, God's just going to have to keep me healthy. And he has. And I've been very healthy, except for cancer.
Go. Okay, I have literally tried to make this video 5 times today. I think this is take 6. I'm either interrupted by a text or a call or a baby crying or a brain fart. I don't really know. Okay, anyway, I'm here, and I want to give everybody an update on the Hagerty household. You know, and I posted my video about obstacles, and God will always throw something your way. You know, when you really want something badly, you will be tested. It's not easy saying this, not because I'm just so like heart-stricken or like, oh my God. It just sounds awkward. It sounds, I don't know, maybe it's just my way of not dealing, but I'm dealing emotionally because I don't like being emotional. I don't like boo-hooing in front of people. I just like to put my big girl panties on and just kind of deal with shit. Anywho, let me turn the music down. I have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
I didn't really want to tell Daniel right away because that's kind of like, you know, I just wanted to wait for us. I was like, maybe I'll just wait a little bit and not say anything. But, you know, Daniel comes in. He's like, so how was it? I was like, I have cancer. And just started crying. I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I watched a lot of Food Network and HGTV that day. And just like, so, I mean, the good news was that they cut it out. But the bad news is that, you know, I got a second and third opinion finally. And both of them had said because of the way that it was cut out, it was actually ruptured. Because they didn't think it was a tumor.
Right.
And it's not like they're oncologists. They were delivering a baby, and that's the first priority is to get a baby out.
If you're a fan of farmers markets, come check out our KZSM booth on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in San Marcos, Texas. Stop and make a donation and check out our merchandise. This is a great opportunity to talk to our station members, look at our schedule, and if there's room on the board, consider hosting your own radio show. If you can't make Saturdays, you can still help support the station by visiting kzsm.org/donate to help.
So I had cancer, and the doctors recommended both of them. My second and third opinion were both saying that I should do surgery and gut me, like take all my girly stuff and some extras, and then do 4 to 6 rounds of chemo. It's like a very standard procedure for the type of cancer that I have or had, and I didn't want to do it. Then we called our insurance, and it actually kicked in the day before my first appointment. So, got lucky that insurance covered it. So I don't know if I would have done it otherwise, because I was on the pregnancy, insurance or whatever before that. But
So I remember calling him like 3 times, like, okay, are you sure everything's covered?
Are you sure it's covered?
Everything's covered, sir. I was like, okay, no, everything, like everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I was scheduled to have a surgery to take everything out. I got the flu, and so then we postponed the surgery.
Talk about your dreads. Talk about
My hair.
and you had a whole head full of curly hair. You decided to get dreads.
So I've always wanted dreads, and I think I started doing dreads after Lincoln was born. My hair was probably, my hair was long. So and I had dreads for a year and a half. And when I found out I had cancer, I was, the doctor's like, you're going to lose your hair. And I remember researching it. I was like, well, there's a small, tiny percentage that I won't. That's like a 0.1% chance that I wouldn't lose my hair. And I remember my mom lost her hair when she did chemo. And I'm like, maybe I can, just shave my dreads off. And or I thought about combing out my dreads and then using my hair for a wig. But that was painful. So I didn't do it. But
too far gone.
It was, they were already pretty dreaded by that point. And my hair, when it was combed out, it was so long that I couldn't stretch my arm out to hold it. So it was past my butt by that time. Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, my hair. So we kind of made a thing out of it. My sister and one of her best friends decided they were going to cut their hair and donate it to me. And we were going to have a custom wig made. And her friend is kind of blonde, so we dyed her hair and we just made a girls' day out of it. We had champagne. I had a bunch of my girlfriends with me, and we buzzed my head. I mean, I loved having a buzz cut, and we saved my dreads because it was during my surgery. We were talking about what we were going to do about my hair, but it was my friend that said, girl, don't comb them out. You can just sew them back into your hair later. So my goal is to put some of them back in my hair again later. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm digging the mohawk right now, but so we had a fun day about it, and a friend came and he videoed it, and there's a really cool video about it, about the buzz cut.
I remember that. Yeah. That stuck out in my memory.
It was a good one. Yeah. I mean, people got choked up, but it was it seems like a sad occasion, but it was really fun. People are like, man, who did you piss off in another life? Or you guys got some really great stuff coming to you later.
But you have a sense of humor to kind of deal with that and cope with it. I mean, it seems like
you have to. I mean, I don't know. I guess some people ask, like, how do you do that, or how do you deal? And you just do.
You ride the wave.
I mean, I guess we do. I mean, I worry about our kids sometimes because, they live it too. you know, especially my oldest. I think you were there, like the day that we talked to the first doctor, and he was talking about like doing chemo and recommending it, and I was like, I don't want to do it. It sucked for my mom, and it didn't even help, and the cancer's gone. What are the odds of it coming back, you know? And the doctor said, well, the odds of it coming back are this percentage, but the thing is, if it comes back, you will die, you know? And when he said that, like, Elijah's like, well, go to the bathroom, went to the bathroom, and he came back and his face was just red. I'm like, oh, I'll do chemo, you know? And I really did not want to. And my sister, you know, she was like, telling my mom, she's like, there's no way hell Michelle's gonna do chemo. She's not like that. She's too crunchy. You know, but I did anyway, because a friend of mine, you know, Darcy Gordon. Okay, so I ran into her. There's a lot of drinking before. I mean, I was like, well, kind of. I mean, like, I know it was nursing, but there was still some going out with girlfriends. My girls all decided, like, okay, you're gonna go out. I think you were part of this planning. You know, like, Michelle needs to go out, have fun with her girlfriends. And we went over to that patio. Yeah. We had a wine night, and I ran into Darcy there, and she was like, do it all, girl, just do it all. And she was talking about, like, everybody's got their opinions to tell you what you need to do and what you don't need to do. And you know, do chemo, don't do chemo, do THC oils. Anyway, so they were, you know, like, they're telling me to do, everybody's telling me to do all these different things, and she's like, just do it all, you know, like, we have the education for it, you're gonna be fine, you can live through it, do it. So I remember that, and that stuck with me this whole time, just freaking do it.
We had a conversation about it, because she's asking me, like, what do you think I should do? And I told her, I was like, whatever you decide to do, I'll support you. I go, but I want you to do whatever it takes to survive. I don't want, I mean, I didn't use the words like, I don't want to lose you, but that's what I was thinking. And I remember she was going off because, like, she had people in one ear telling her to do it, and had other people like whispering, like, oh, you know, go the more natural route, do it this way.
Chemo's evil.
And I remember, like, before, she never tell people what they should do, but she was more like, there's got to be natural remedies, you know, there's got, you know, chemo this. And I remember she told me, like, in her words, well, maybe not exact, but she'd say, like, it's different when you're telling someone else, but when it's you, it's different.
Yeah, when you're in the hot seat,
and
you're
so,
like, oh.
And that's when she decided to do the chemo. And it's just, and it, with me, it's not that I was in denial the whole time, but from the day one when she told me that she had cancer and what was going on, I didn't even have to pray about it. God told me flat out, don't worry, she's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, everything's going to be all right, but honestly, when things were getting super sucktastic, sometimes, lots of times, I was hoping that it just wasn't going to be all right. You know, I was like, God, you can take me out of this any moment now, because this sucks.
I'm ready to check out.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't need another flood, a car wreck will do, whatever, you know, and it's just, it sucks. I mean, because I've had postpartum depression with all 3 babies. Some really fun, serious weight gain, because, you know, if I'm going to do something, I'm going full force.
We won't have to ask nothing this time.
If I'm going to gain weight, I'm going to gain weight like a champ. But, like, I was so overweight, and, oh God, this is probably so wrong of me to think. I was like, hey, if I do chemo, maybe I'll finally lose weight. You know, like, there's got to be an upside to this, but of course not. You know, I mean, like, I ballooned up like a balloon. Okay, that's a terrible analogy there, or a really good one. But I mean, it's just, you know, that chemo sucks. You hear that it sucks.
Yeah.
And then you do it, and you're like, God, this really, really sucks. I couldn't nurse Quinn. I think that was one of the hardest things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I wasn't allowed to. You know, I remember when I getting injected with that radioactive dye for that thing, I wasn't even allowed to be around him. I was like, I can't hug my newborn. They're like, you might not want to be in the same room. But I did get my own room, so that's a bonus.
Okay.
Wait, so we had all 7 of us in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom duplex, and I had my own room. So Dano had his own room. I mean, I had my room. Dano had his own room with 2 babies.
Yeah, I slept with Quinn was in his crib, and Lincoln slept with me.
Yeah, and Daniel was the one that got up with the baby every night. I didn't have to, because he took care of it and let me rest. I'm not gonna say it was perfect, because there were plenty of times I was like, "Baby's crying, get up," you know. But I mean, like, I mean, he's a baby, but I had family, lots of family come in and help out. I had friends come in and help out. It feels like the whole community. I mean, like, people brought us food. And my thank you list is so long.
We don't even know where to start. I mean,
Becca, my friend Becca Smith, like you want to call her Bosma, Becca,
Yeah.
and my friend Joni, like, they were my emotional support. My friend Melissa Call. Throughout all of this, I mean, we've had people tell us, including Brian Dobson, he owns the original Metroflex. We were talking to him about, like, dude, things have been rough. When you can't work your own business, it doesn't do that well. When you're not there all the time, it doesn't do as well as it does whenever you are there and talking to the members and things like that. So the gym took a step back in progress, but now that I'm back and I'm done with chemo and working out again, and we're just trying to really boost personal training, both of us. But we really want to focus on why we originally started the gym, and that is to help people. I mean, of course, we would like to help ourselves and have income, but that really was not our intention to begin with. We never went into this thinking we need to make big bucks. God does good things through everybody. And that's why we opened the Metroflex, because it's a Christian gym. And we want to keep serving our community. And I feel like whenever we are doing that and helping others through our business, through our gym, then we're successful. And I think that's why we're still here, even through this crappy year.
Metroflex, what's different between us and other gyms is we're here to make a difference in people's lives. I mean, we want to affect the community, but it's on a one-on-one basis. We want people to set goals, achieve goals, see a difference in their life. But on the bigger scale, we also want to give back to the community and those that need help and need assistance. It's different from other gyms for the fact that we are a gym family. I mean, people call her mom, they call me their gym dad. I pray. I've numerous times I've sat and I've prayed with members. I've prayed over our members. We talk about what's going on in their lives. We are a part of their lives. We hang out with their kids when they're in the daycare. We play with them. We socialize with everybody. We know what's going on in their lives. It's not about just checking them in and whatnot.
I know. I'm excited about getting
we finally hit our 5-year mark. I mean, I honestly didn't think we'd be open that long. I mean, it's been a struggle, but
yeah, because year 4 was rough.
We offer student discounts, veteran discounts, military discounts, first responder discounts.
Free parking to the river.
Yeah. We're going to start up a powerlifting team to get that going and get people just to set goals and achieve them. We got the Olympic lifting program going on. Ronan's Veterans Network every Sunday, Strongman Sunday, and also the gym's open free on Sundays to all veterans to come in and get a free workout. Metroflex Gym, we're on the corner of Cheatham and Riverside. It's 413 Riverside Drive. Some of y'all know it as the little blue building on the corner, across catty corner to where Riverside Pub used to be.
Or the little blue building next to Herbert's Taco Hut. So when you leave Herbert's, drop on it. And then go float the river. Yeah.
But either way, the only thing that keeps going through my head is, fuck you, cancer. You picked the wrong bitch.
There you have it, San Marcos. Now you know a little more about the lives within our awesome community. Go check out Metroflex Gym, go get a workout, and give the Hagerty family some props. Tell them you heard their story here. Thanks for listening to KZSM Community Radio, your first source of local info. Go to kzsm.org/donate to help keep community radio alive. COSMRadio will be taking some time off to prepare for a new season. We are looking to start back up midsummer, so like our Facebook page at facebook.com/COSMRadio to see when new episodes arrive. In the meantime, get caught up if you haven't listened to our previous shows. Soon we will be looking for stories about creeks and caves. What's your story? Email us at COSMRadio, that's COSMRadio, @gmail.com. Stay tuned to your community. Peace out.